doing. Let me give you a brief orientation of Build EXITO, okay? So we are one out of 10 other sites. There's probably an imaginary map there. So there is a site at Morgan State University in Baltimore. Actually, that is a very established, old, historically black university in Baltimore. There is another site at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. There is a partnership at the University of Detroit, Mercy. There is another build site at Xavier University. It's primarily a college of pharmacy and life science in New Orleans. There is another build site at the University of Texas, El Paso. And that's actually somewhat comparable to us because they have a lot of partnership with multiple institutions. They have partnership with University of Texas, Austin, Arizona State, University of Arizona, El Paso, and University of Texas, El Paso. There's another build site at California State University, Long Beach, and California State University, Northridge. And another build site at San Francisco State University, and they're partnering with the University of California, San Francisco. And there is another site at University of Alaska, Fairbanks. What's unique about these sites is each one of us are trying something different. We have a national crisis in the fact that, one, we don't have a lot of high school kids finishing their degrees, and that's bad for a nation that students are not completing their high school degree. So we then, and the majority, there's a disproportionate number of those kids who don't not finish high school who are underrepresented in the life science. And as we have less students, especially diverse students completing high school, then the number of students who go into behavioral, social, clinical, biomedical engineering are actually even lower. And if we want to, 10 years from now, being able to say that we have doctors that look like us, that we have researchers that look like us, we have to make a huge investment early in the process to get more students being able to complete their degrees. So the NIH realized this is a crisis and a national priority, and they put a request for applications for any university, especially universities that have a large number of socioeconomically disadvantaged students, and there are different ways to measure that, and based on Pell Grants, based on funding, etc., to put together ideas of how they would diversify the biomedical workforce. We at Portland State are one of the sites. There were, I don't know, like over 90 applicants for this. It was a lot of money, actually. It was a lot of money. I have never seen the money anyways. It's cyber money. But it was about $24 million to fund this project. And $250 million were set aside for these 10 sites. There is another evaluation center, and there is a National Research Mentoring Network Center, and those are national supportive coordinating grants to help these 10 sites. We might be able to meet somebody from the National Research Mentoring Network this week. Adrian and Matt, they work directly with the coordination of the national evaluation of all the 10 sites. And we meet weekly, we meet constantly, and a big part of that is making sure the surveys that you receive are well prepared and that you're able to give us your feedback. So the director of the National Institute of Health had this request for applications. Our proposal was to work with students from Portland State and also work with institutions outside of Portland State. Portland State is an urban research intensive university. It was the largest university in the state of Oregon. Now it's Oregon State, I think, has more students than Portland State. Nonetheless, it's about 28,000 students, and that's a lot of students. And being an urban university, we have a very diverse cohort of students at Portland State. Last year, the freshman class, over 40% of the students were students of color. We have a very large number of international students. We have graduate programs, we have undergraduate programs. We have a unique relationship with the Oregon Health and Science University. OHSU is where the medical school is the only medical school in the state of Oregon. It's where the School of Dentistry is, it's where the School of Nursing is, and it's where the OHSU PSU School of Public Health is located, and that is a brand new School of Public Health, which is a collaboration between two universities. If you look up the hill, you will see a lot of buildings. That's where the Oregon Health and Science Universities. They grew so much that they cannot put another building over there, although otherwise the whole hill comes down. So there are buildings at the waterfront in Portland. One of those buildings is called the Collaborative Life Science Building, CLSB, and that's utilized by students from Portland State University, students from Oregon Health and Science University, and actually there is a College of Pharmacy between OHSU and Oregon State University. So there is a building that already co-locates students from Portland State and OHSU and the College of Pharmacy. And many of our scholars take classes there. I think the organic chemistry lab and some of the other labs are down in the CLSB. The students in the School of Medicine are down also in the CLSB. So it's a great, and it's a brand new building. It still smells like new. But the nice part is, and there's a Starbucks, and you have a chance to share and partake with students who are at different stages in their career. And you could see what a first, second year med student look like. And you'll see that it's not as glamorous as it sounds. But it starts to expose you to what you can be. So that's one of our partners. We have the primary university being Portland State University. We have a research intensive university, which is Oregon Health and Science University. And they are a very good medical research center. They spend over $200-300 million a year in research expenditure. There is a Alzheimer's research center. There is a neurobehavioral research center. There is a center for community health. There is a School of Nursing, dentistry, etc. So there's a lot of people who are actually engaged day to day conducting research in diseases that some of them we know about, some of them we do not. There is a brand new night Cancer Institute field night. One of the founders from Nike donated $500 million, and it was matched by another $500 million. And the whole point was to create a comprehensive cancer center. And there's a new building going up in the waterfront to start discovering cures for many diseases, especially cancer. There's also a cardiovascular research center. So there is a lot of research going on. It's one of our most important partners because that provides a way for you to be exposed to what research is going. And most of us, growing up, our parents thought, you're smart enough, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a nurse, you're going to be a lawyer. And when you tell them, I want to be an epidemiologist, and they looked at you like, what is that? Or I want to be a botanist. It's what is that? So you have an idea more or less of what you want to be, but we want to expose you to other types of research and other people who are doing very exciting things, and you will say, well, I didn't know I could be one of those. So that's one of the things we want to do in this week and actually throughout your trajectory. So many of you are coming, all of you actually are coming from one of these institutions, from Clackamas Community College, which is less than half an hour from Portland State. Portland Community College, I call it a god with four heads. So it's a one community college, but four campuses. So there's one campus in Rock Creek, which is probably about half hour in Hillsboro. There is a campus right downtown in Cascade campus. There is a brand new campus southeast, which has a very primary emphasis in science, technology, education, and math. And there is a campus that does a lot of their health components in Sylvania. So students are coming from four campuses from Portland Community College. It's probably one of the largest community college any given time. Those taking credits or not for credits, like 80 or 90,000 students. So we have a Chemeketa Community College, which is technically the only Hispanic serving institution of higher education in the state of Oregon. And to be at a Hispanic serving institution, it's not like you can just call yourself that. You have to show that you have a large percentage, I think like 25% of the students of Hispanic descent. Clark College, which is actually almost in another state. It's actually in another state, it's in Vancouver. University of Alaska, Anchorage. Northern Mariana College, which is probably our farthest partner. University of Hawaii and University of Hawaii System. So you have University of Hawaii Manoa, and you also have other community colleges and campuses from University of Hawaii who are connected. So we have students who might not be exactly from one campus, but from multiple campuses in Hawaii. University of Guam, which is also tomorrow, in another day, and also students from American Samoa Community College. You all come from different places. Your institutions are very different, actually. Some of your institutions are actually also urban universities. Some of your universities are located in rural places. Some of your universities are in a very warm place, and some of you are in a very cold place. So welcome. This is exciting. This is exactly what we were looking for. Like I say, I grew up in Puerto Rico, and if you go to Puerto Rico, everybody's Puerto Rican. And you're not you're not going to find many people from other parts of the world. And I think that handicapped me in terms of being able to relate to other cultures. And as I was growing up, I had a chance to go to a boarding school, and I stayed in a dorm. It was called the Antillean College. And we had students from all the Antillean islands and from Colombia and other places. And that's when I realized that I spoke funny, that I had an accent and I was pronouncing things the wrong way, because I was able to hear other people from other places saying the same thing. And sometimes I didn't understand what they were saying. We were all speaking Spanish. So it's great when you have a chance to start collaborating and interacting with people from other places, and yet there is a commonality. I think we all want to become researchers, but then you realize that we see things very differently. If you come from some of the islands and you hear the term colonialism, it's probably not something that you ever thought about it, being born and raised in Oregon or Washington. But when you experience how one dominant culture dictates what you buy, when you buy it, where it comes from, it's something that we probably don't think about it. But if you grow up in one of the islands, you realize that there are some limitations of the things that you can and cannot do and what you receive and what you can buy. And we learn, we learn, and we have been able to adjust, and you're here again. That means you're interested in moving forward. In a nutshell, you're going to have a quiz about this figure. This was created by Dr. Keller. We're trying to explain to people what it is that we're going to do. So, vertically, you have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, right? So you're one of these. You're probably between freshman and sophomore. And then you have, these are the programs that are going to, you're going to be exposed to, okay? So the first one, we want to provide a supportive environment that's happening from freshman to senior. So that is something that you will have an EXITO advisor, a dedicated person that will be your advisor. We had one person, Charles Daniels, and we are in the process of hiring another academic advisor, and this is your go-to person. You will meet one of the academic advisors that we have identified to work with you, Elizabeth Brenner. She will be here later today. You will have student support services. We have a place in one of the buildings on campus, Kramer Hall, and you go there and you will find Caitlin or Kay Logan, and these are names that you will recognize, and they will be there. And a big part of that is to provide a support, an environment where you feel supported. And you will also have multicultural support. There is a special lounge. There's a refrigerator. There is cabinets. There's actually a dishwasher. Do you believe that? There's a dishwasher. So that place is yours. That place is for you to go and visit and study and have a place where you feel safe. The university also has a multicultural center. This Native American Center is another place, but there is also a multicultural center. There is the Pan-Africa House. There is the Asian Pacific Islander House. There is a Casa Latina. So there are places for you to go on campus. The other part that we are working closely, it's a integrated curriculum. So if you are going from freshman to sophomore, well, we think you apply to this program because you somehow came across the application process and we try to engage you. You apply, you get accepted. Then during your sophomore year, you will take a research gateway course. For the last couple of years, we've been working with your institution to create this course. So this course, the whole point is to begin to expose you to research methods, to research experience, to human subjects protection, to ethics in research, quantitative, qualitative research exposure, etc. So that happens in your sophomore year. At Portland State, there is one course called Healthy People, Healthy Place, and that specific course that you take, and there's a professor who guides you through that process. At each of the institutions, they might have different things. Sometimes it's a module, sometimes it's a 2-week intensive, sometimes it's a special course that you take that it's your research gateway course. Part of this is because when you turn into your junior, you're going to show up at a research learning community. And we want to, again, give the impression to your research mentor that you know about research. And again, we're not expecting you to be an accomplished researcher, but one that you have some self-confidence on what research is and what you can and cannot do. For those students who are at Portland State or transfer to Portland State, during your junior year and senior year, you take a cluster of courses as part of your general education, and we have identified some courses that would help you. And at the end of your senior year, students at Portland State do a capstone. And we have identified research-based capstones. This is one faculty with 12 students, and they do something. Some of them are community-based projects. Some of them are science-based projects. We have an EXITO capstone that we implemented this year. It was about aging and aging in place and community involvement for older adults. But there are other capstones, and these are offered actually out of the university studies at Portland State. So that's about curriculum. Then your research experience starts officially between your sophomore and your junior year. You will be placed into a research learning community, and we have 70 plus research learning communities. They are at the Oregon Health Science University. They are at Portland State University. They are also at the four-year institutions like University of Hawaii, University of Guam, and University of Alaska. What happened in that research learning community, there is a research mentor, and some of them might be a typical laboratory where you have the big investigator, several faculty working in the lab, maybe postdocs, and postdoc is a postdoctoral student, so if you're counting when are you going to be done with school, where a postdoc is after you finish your doctorate, you still go to school for 1 or 2 more years. So, and that's actually, it's a love of learning. When you are going to school, this is a time where people are protecting you so you can just study, so you can just learn. Once you're done with school, guess what? They're going to put you to work. So enjoy this time. People respect the fact that you're a student. People expect that you're learning, that you're studying, and you take advantage of that. Because again, once you're done, they're going to put you to work. Look what happened to me. So, stay engaged, take advantage. Don't try to shortcut this process. This is a time where you're going to be training for your sophomore, your junior year. The skills that you're learning, they take time. The exposure that you're going to be doing things, the exposure of these things, they take time for them to sink in. So enjoy it and stay as much alert as you can. Another 2 things that might be happening during your research experience, in addition to the research learning community, some faculty are doing pilot projects, and we had 2 requests for applications. We set aside about $1 million for faculty to apply for pilot projects. They're $50,000, and right now we're going through the second stage of this pilot project. A faculty submitted a proposal. Those proposals are being reviewed, and part of that proposal is they have to have a mentoring plan. So some of you might be part of a laboratory where a faculty is doing a pilot project, and you are supposed to be an integral part of that pilot project. Personally, we have external reviewers who are evaluating the quality of the pilot projects. Personally, I don't care what they're studying. My main interest was that they had a plan of how you were going to be involved in that pilot project, either collecting data, presenting data, analyzing the project, having a poster, attending a professional conference. And that was actually part of the evaluation of those pilot projects. But many of the, we call them RLC, research learning communities, already have different projects that their investigators are doing. And you might be involved actually in doing your own independent research. So this is your research experience. You will be paid for that, participating in the research learning community. And I'll explain some more about research induction and research immersion that are happening during these 2 summers. And finally, a big part of what Build EXITO is, and it's somewhat different, it's a big intervention of Build EXITO, it's a mentoring plan. You will be mentor galore. You will have a peer mentor, which is a student like you. You will have a career mentor, which is probably a faculty who is probably one of your teachers, or a faculty who is a researcher also. And you meet with that career mentor, and they talk to you about your options. You probably came here thinking you're going to be a medical doctor, and he will tell you where to apply for medical school. Maybe you're not sure you want to be a medical doctor, and that career mentor can tell you, here's some of the options. This is what I did. Here's how you need to prepare before you go to your research learning community. Here are the things that you should or should not do. And so that career mentor, you will meet with that person periodically. And then you have your research mentor. And this is the person who, a lot of what they know is about their research. They live their research. That's what they breathe in. That's their life. They have a lab. They have a staff. And that's their priority. They're constantly writing grants. And you're going to be exposed to that research mentor, and you meet with them basically weekly. And that person is going to be the one that you're going to be spending the most amount of time, because you're going to be working in that lab about 8-10 hours a week. Okay? So all these things are going to be happening to you from freshman, sophomore, junior year. You are right here. You are attending a 1-week summer orientation. So that's what we're doing today. So you still have 3 more years ahead, and hundreds and hundreds of surveys to respond to. So what are the benefits? So like I mentioned, you have a peer, career, and research mentoring. Okay? 3 different types of people you can ask different questions. Don't ask your research mentor where to get your TriMet pass. TriMet is the bus. He or she probably drive to work and they've never been on a bus. But your peer mentor could tell you, yeah, take bus 14, number 8 is a crazy bus, number 1 doesn't come at this time. If you're partying way too late at night, don't take this. Here's the great happy hours, So that's your peer mentor. Your career mentor has a different role, so you have an opportunity to actually get input from different types of people. We do know that a big predictor of success in science for most people that have been able to graduate and be researchers right now, if you ask them, what was one of the major things that influenced you to stay in science and be successful? If they had a mentor, okay? Most of us, because of our background, do not have that mentor. So we are artificially creating that mentoring relationship. And it's actually not artificially, but we are embedding this mentoring in a very intentional way. So take advantage of that. Things don't always work. Sometimes personality clash. Sometimes the interests on research do not work out. We're prepared for that. We know things are not exactly always go as planned, but do take advantage of your mentoring exposures. You have advisors, not only academic advisors, we also have a financial aid advisor who is able to respond to some of your questions. We have specific times throughout your training here where you have a chance to meet with the financial aid advisor. We have different circumstances. Some of you are here because you're from Oregon and you're paying in-state tuition. Some of you come from a university that is part of the Western Institute Consortium of Higher Education, which stands for WICHE, or the Western Undergraduate Education. And that is an agreement among institutions to charge less than if you were from out of state. So the financial aid advisor is fully aware of the specific circumstances of your specific institution and how you're going to pay for college, and then take into account the stipend that you receive and the remissions that we have to cover 8% of your tuition. Okay? And he also is aware of other financial aid and scholarships, and if you bring a scholarship, he will be able to answer some of the question about how that's going to work. You're going to have exposure to career guidance and support. You're going to have an intensive health research training, and these are your research learning communities. They're biomedical research. I want to emphasize that biomedical is not just biology and chemistry, but we have biomedical. Some of you will be working in social sciences like sociology, social work. Behavioral, I think there is, I sat at a table where 90% of the students were psychology majors. So we do have that. Behavioral is a biomedical career, clinical, bioengineering. So we have a broad spectrum of majors that have been identified as biomedical careers. And a big part of this, the long view of this, is that you will go to graduate school and you will become a researcher. And you are going to discover the cure for cancer, okay? You will. I'm watching you. So, and we have evaluators looking at that. So this means PSU and community college transfer. This looks great last night on my computer right away. And here are our four-year institution. This is mostly for University of Hawaii, University of Alaska, and University of Guam. These students, those are four-year institutions. There is no need for those students to actually transfer to Portland State. So they have a separate package. And these students are from PSU or here at Portland State or community colleges that we talked about. So for attending here, we have set aside some funding to support your travel and your time here. And there is a $1,000 that you'll be receiving for taking part in this summer orientation. There is no direct financial support during your sophomore year. So as you are going through your sophomore year, do not send me an email asking for where's my check. Now, the scholars who are at the community college, they will be transferring to PSU. So we want to start that process. So as you make the transition, it becomes a smooth transition from community college to here. Sometimes you do have to meet with advisors. We have a relatively good relationship with the local community colleges. And there are already agreements. We're working different ones, especially with American Samoa and with our partners in Northern Mariana. So again, so the students, as they transfer, are able to continue into their degree program. There is $1,200 for participating in the summer induction, 60% of the tuition remission for 12 credits, and that would be in as your junior year and your senior year, which are technically academic year 2 and 3, but that's for your junior and senior. There would be a $1,000 stipend that would happen as you take part in the research learning communities. And I'm rounding here. They take taxes, so you might not receive a check exactly for $1,000. It might end up being a little less, or maybe, I don't think more. Usually it's less. $3,600 for that summer immersion. That's about, I think, about 10 weeks. And we also are reserving $1,800 for you to present or attend your research project at a national or local regional scientific conference. Okay? Key part. All right. And then at the four-year institution, the package is different, but it does include remuneration for participating in the summer induction, for taking part in a research learning communities during your junior and your senior year, and also for taking part in a summer immersion program. And you also have funding to attend and present a scientific conference. All right? So, so the summer orientation, like today, you participate in the 1 week. We will establish the EXITO cohort. You will be consented. I'm sure you're going to get a survey right away. And you'll have some tours. And during your sophomore year, you will take part in a gateway research course, career mentoring, peer mentoring, advising, some enrichment activities, and other activities to build cohort. The summer induction, so it'll be next year, during that summer, Right before school starts, you come to Portland State, for those who are going to transfer to Portland State, and you take about a 1 month summer induction where you are finally receive your placement, and we have a research learning community fair, so you have a chance to meet the different RLCs, and you apply and you put your first, second, and third choice. So you are placed in a research learning community, and you have 80 hours to prepare to be part of your RLC, and there's some other activities and hands-on training. And then during the academic year, you do the 10 hours a week and other activities. We have workshops on Fridays, and we expect you to come, because that's when we start talking about where you're going to apply to graduate school, what's been going on in your RLC, how can we best prepare you, etc. So what do we expect? So we want you to be part of a meaningful research experience. We want to connect you with the RLCs. We will continue to have communication with you via newsletter, email. I know some of you like to text and Instagram and the whole thing, but email is the formal, official, grown-up way of communicating. So make sure you have an email account, you read it, you respond. Please respond. I know sometimes we read emails, we don't reply, we have no idea if you got the email or do not. So we're going through that. It's part of the process, because that's how we communicate. D2L is a platform where we upload information. It's called Desire to Learn. We do have social media, and we have workshops, and we even have Instagrams, et cetera, et cetera. So we will keep track of your progress. There is a student success committee that keeps track of, you need to stay full-time, you need to maintain a GPA, you need to show up to your RLC, you need to come to workshops. You do these basic things, you're fine. You start messing up with any of that stuff, then we go and find you, okay? Your mentoring assignments, we do evaluations, the surveys, interviews, some other qualitative assessment, protections of human subjects. We have a place where you can come and visit, and I think I'm almost running out of time. So what we expect from you is stay full-time. You are U.S. citizen, permanent residents, or non-citizen national. You complete your degree requirements in a biomedical major, keep up your GPA, complete NIH and EXITO surveys and reports, and other requirements determined by your site. And that goes back to our partner institutions. And I am done.